afternoon. It's great to be back in Düsseldorf. Many of you have asked how I became a social media influencer and a luxury travel writer. Well, I haven't always traveled in the luxury category. Let me share with you my first adventure. In the middle of the night, I heard this voice, wake up, we need to leave right now. I got up and followed into a Jeep. As we were driving away, I saw explosions and fires from a distance. We get to the airport. There are 2 planes left. There are thousands of people trying to get in the last 2 planes on the tarmac. I get in, and I sit on the floor in a U.S. cargo plane in the floor seat. As I sat there, little did I know that I will never see my home again. And I didn't even know we had lost the war a couple days previously. And we flew to Guam. It's a refugee camp for the Vietnamese. I woke up the next morning, and it was scary, it was bleak, because I woke up in a tent with a bunch of strangers. As I was sitting there, a young soldier came to me and gave me a chocolate candy bar. And he smiled at me, and I smiled back at him. Until now, I still remember this chocolate bar, this gift. About 4 weeks later, my dad remembered only one American name in the US from the previous job that he worked in the Army with him. And he went to the Red Cross, and he asked for Bill Ott. The Red Cross representative called him and said, "We have a family here of 6. Would you like to sponsor them?" He turned to his wife, Betty, and said, "Do the right thing." Thank goodness he chose kindness. Years later, I interviewed him for an article. And I asked him, "Bill, why would you sponsor an entire family of 6 to the US?" And he shared with me that I would rather regret something I did rather than something I did not do, which inspired me because at that time, I was quite tired of my 6 years job as a cybersecurity person. So I went for my next adventure. And the next adventure, I and a bunch of other ladies collected clothes, monies, and shoes and toys to go visit a boys' orphanage in Lima. We get there, we passed out chocolate and toys and play Easter hunt with the children. In the corner of my eye, I could see this young man trying on a pink pair of shoes that we threw in. And I remember at the time, like, why did she put in a pink pair of shoes? Because we're going to a boys' orphanage. But at that moment, I understand the scarcity of the situation. After that, I went back home and started a website in 2010, and I wrote about the article about my experience with these young boys. And then I read a lot on social media, and I would read things like, you can do social media in 10 minutes in 1 day per day, and you can also do social media in 30 minutes a day. I don't know how many of you are on social media or how active you are, but it is complete rubbish. It's a 24/7, there are no shortcuts, so if somebody tells you there's a shortcut, believe me, none. And then I was listed on Forbes, and being an influencer has its perks, because after this conference, I'm going to fly home to Vietnam for the second time, but in business class, because I work as a brand ambassador for a particular airline, and we were working on a campaign where I flew from London to New Orleans to celebrate Mardi Gras. And I noticed that everyone spoke with an English accent, and I was the only one on the plane speaking English with an American accent. And I thought that was odd, so I inquired with the PR lady, and asked her, "How did you find me?" She said, "Anne, we found you on all the luxury travel lists, every single one of them. You're on top of the list." So you see, I use this hashtag in most of my posts. And for brand strategy, it's all about how you want to be found in searches. What is influence? Who is an influencer? Well, we know that influence has been around for decades. Movie stars have been in commercial for shampoo and coffee. Now we have Instagrammers, YouTubers. I myself work with different brands, and I would take over their Instagram account and videos, and I would write articles for their website. In this photo, as you can see, I'm sitting in the pool, facing the Arenal volcano in Costa Rica. And I have a cocktail in my hand, and you think, oh my God, she's so lucky. She's gonna be there all day basking in the sun. Well, when you see anyone tweeting, my office for the day, that is not reality, okay? My day starts at 6 in the morning sometimes, and then it ends at 2 a.m. Because by the time I collect all the data, you have to edit it and create content and share it for your client. The reason why I wrote the word Vogue here is because Instagram reminds me of Vogue, because you know that Vogue used Photoshop to make the body slimmer, or bustier, or beauty mode. And with Instagram, it's the same thing. So as an influencer, I feel that we are responsible in what we share on Instagram or on social media in general. So being authentic is the new currency on social media. You don't have to have the perfect pose, the perfect everything, because that's not reality. In fact, what I would suggest is to be in front of the video more, like Instagram stories, so that it's live, you can't edit it, that's the real you. And actually, they appreciate it because they want to hear your voice. They just don't want to see a still picture. They want to see if you're real. Now, who can be an influencer? Anybody can be an influencer. I don't know if this video is popular or not, but it's quite popular in the US, so take a look at this.
Hey, I'm really excited to share with you something I got. Okay, so you want to see what I got? It's so great. I can't wait to show you. Okay, this is part of my birthday joy, still rejoicing in my birthday. And so here's what I got. I'm going to take it out of the box. And I can't wait to show you. Tight on me. I got to undo it just a little bit. Hold on. Stay patient, people. Stay patient. This is going to be worth it. I promise. Maybe not, but it's worth it to me. And I had to share with my friends on the internet webs. So here's what I'm having trouble getting it. Okay, patient. All right, we're doing good. Okay, so this is what I got. Once again, this is for me, not for Duncan, not for Cadence. I mean, I'll let them play with it. I'm not a bad mom. I'm not a jerk. But in all honesty, at the end of the day, it doesn't go in their toy box. It goes in my room. So here we go. I gotta take off my glasses for it. Oh, naturally. Okay, here we go. So, yes! Now watch when my mouth actually moves. That's not me making that noise, it's the mask! Here, listen.
So you see, anyone can be an influencer. And actually, she shared this on Facebook and has received over 161 million views. And in addition, she now partnered with that particular store and was compensated very generously. And I also partner with airlines, hotels, and cruise line. And I worked on a cruise once, and I went to the Dubrovnik. And a tour guide told me that because the movie Game of Thrones and Star Wars were filmed in this particular location, they are not able to take in the influx of the tourists. In fact, they don't even know what to do with their trash, let's say, in Venice. So they're putting a cap there as well for folks coming in. So as you can see with the Tran, if we also use social media, it will also amplify the message and the location. I actually saw Crazy Rich Asians recently, and right before this trip, they invited me to go see the premiere in London because they want to have social media influence amplify the experience and the location. So if you work in tourists, you will know where to focus on the trend and be prepared for your location. Lose your phone to find yourself. Why do I say that? Well, I was invited to a Sting concert, and I was just right in the front row like you here. And I was so excited. And I videoed the show, I took tons of photos of Sting, and then I went home. And then I watched all the songs on my cell phone. And at that moment, I felt so cheated. Because why? I didn't experience this with my girlfriend. I wasn't on a job or an assignment, but I just did what I did habitually. So put the phone down and play with your friends. Okay, I read this recently. It's called the Little Red Book app, and it's influencer marketing. The layout is very close to Instagram. And there's a buy button now where when you hit buy, it will track the revenue to the influencer. Currently, with influencer and all this marketing campaign, there's really not a cohesive way to track the influence. For example, they'll look at the number of followers, and you know you can buy followers and likes. And they track by engagement, impressions, and likes and number of views on YouTube. Well, how do you measure the success of a campaign? Well, with the executives, all they care about is their bottom line and the ROI. So perhaps in the future, we could track the influence, rather than the influence that we can focus on the revenue itself, not the number of followers that people have. In my life, the three things that have influenced me are, number one, the young man at the camp where he gave me the chocolate candy bar, and those young boys at the orphanage, when they hardly had any food left at lunch, he wanted to share with me. He was so proud. He wanted to sit next to me and gave me his food. Number three, I would not be here to share this with you if Betty and Bill had not sponsored our family. Now, what will the future hold? Whatever the future holds, it cannot automate our relationship. It cannot automate our conversation. It can make life easier, yes, and fine-tuning it. But for me, what I've learned is that humility, gentleness, and kindness and generosity will open more doors to your future than you could ever imagine. Thank you.